Hello everyone, welcome to your new favorite cricket fan channel called Willow and Leather. This is Shravan. Right, so we have the first weekend of games, the opening weekend of the games of IPL 2024 done. So I thought I'll do a quick video just to recap all the games and kind of provide my thoughts and views on what some of the key highlights and the talking points were from this opening weekend. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right. So the first, talking point, obviously from the very first game of the season, Chennai Super Kings versus Royal Challengers Bangalore, playing at Chepauk, defending champions, off to a fantastic start. Pretty much cruising through to victory against a lackluster Royal Challengers Bangalore. Looking at it from the point of view of an RCB fan, which I am. Season kind of started off in an all too familiar note for Royal Challengers Bangalore. The same kind of problems that have plagued the team for the last several years now, I think resurfacing right at the start of this season as well. Again, an under par performance at M.A. Chidambaram Stadium, which has kind of become a trend, unfortunately, for RCB. CSK, like I said, were pretty much in cruise control, barring the first 4 overs of the game, I guess. And to be honest, as an RCB fan, looking at it from RCB's point of view, if a team like RCB needs to do well in the season and has to have any hopes of, bringing a title home, it's very important that we do well in games like this against challenging teams at tough venues. And unfortunately, that is something that has not happened for the team so far. The long wait to be victorious at Chepauk continues for RCB. Unfortunately, this year was again not our year when it comes to beating CSK at home. The only time we've beaten CSK was in the inaugural edition back in 2008, so that kind of goes to show how dominant CSK has been over RCB over the years, and that kind of a performance kind of showed again through CSK as well. Obviously, key talking points, the top order didn't really fire for RCB. Faf and Kohli tried to get off to a good start and they were successful to some extent, but as soon as Faf's wicket fell, it kind of brought upon a flurry of wickets, unfortunately. Patidar going for naught, Maxwell going for naught as well. And those two wickets kind of really set the tone back for RCB. Kohli kind of went into his shell as a result of that, and then once Kohli tried to free the shackles and got out, things just started going downhill at that point. Cameron Green, I thought, kind of played a very poor shot given the circumstances. The team is in a world of trouble. Kohli's just got out trying to up the ante, and the very next delivery or a couple of balls after that, basically Cameron Green tries to open up his wickets and tries to go for a rash cut shot with a lot of risk involved, especially against a bowler like Fizz. So unfortunate that he couldn't utilize that opportunity to put in a solid performance. And again, situations like this is where I hope players like Glenn Maxwell really step up and do well. We've all seen the kind of damage he can cause in batting friendly conditions when things are working well for the team. He does exceptionally well, and he single-handedly won the team a lot of games previously as well. But this is the kind of game where I feel like he can probably put his hand up and say that yes, I am truly a world beater, and I am capable of playing against quality opponents on difficult tracks as well. But it's not like the track was very difficult either. The pace was kind of well and true. I think barring a couple of odd balls, keeping a little lower, I think it was a pretty good track to bat on, which is kind of good to see at Chennai. But I guess because it's the start of a season, the pitches are a little fresh, so you would expect a little bit more bounce and the wickets to stay a little true, which was the case. But unfortunately, RCB just failed to capitalize. The one big positive for the team definitely though was that amazing partnership between Anuj Rawat and Dinesh Karthik. That I think will do the team worlds of good, just because that has also been a problem area for us. As soon as the top 3 or 4 don't fire for RCB, the team has kind of sunken to very, very low scores, and we've seen that multiple times in the past. But this time around, it was very heartening to see the kind of partnership that the two of them put together, especially Anuj Rawat taking the initiative, trying to dominate the bowlers, and scoring some really good, valuable runs for himself and for the team. and Dinesh Karthik kind of providing able support. It was nice to kind of see him get back into the rhythm as well, although he was kind of a little looked a little off touch towards the end there, especially in the final over. But again, that 95-run partnership, I think it was, really provided at least a decent enough score for RCB to try and put up a fight against. But on the flip side, I think CSK made the chase look very smooth and very easy, kind of in control all through the innings. Rachin Ravindra comes in place of Devon Conway and kind of settles in perfectly there. And he was actually very aggressive and attacking from the get-go. So I think that's definitely a great sign for CSK to have someone like Rachin coming in and replacing someone as consistent as Devon Conway, and getting the max out of him will be great for the team. And similar woes continue for RCB. You could see the lack of penetration with respect to being able to pick up wickets. And even at the top, you saw bowlers like Siraj kind of struggling a little bit. Yes, Dayal, I thought, bowled reasonably well, picking up that initial wicket as well in the power play. But then even the guys who came into bowl in the middle didn't really, make a dent as much as they would have hoped for. Guys like Alzari Joseph having an off day. Karan Sharma not really firing as well. He did pick up a wicket, but there's definitely a lot of runs that he ended up leaking, so that was unfortunate. But on the flip side, the one good positive was someone like a Mayank Dagar coming in and bowling two very economical overs. I was surprised that he didn't get another over and try and get another batter out, but I think as soon as both Dubey and Jadeja got together, I think Faf was kind of hesitant to bring in the left-arm spinner against two left-handed batsmen. So I think they were looking more at it from a matchup standpoint. But yeah, I think Mayank Dagar, both as an off-spin bowler but also as a fielder, I think he made a couple of brilliant saves in the field. So that was definitely a great positive for the team. Cameron Green showing his value as an all-rounder. Didn't really fire with the bat yesterday, but at least was able to come in and pick up a couple of crucial wickets in the middle. So that was really heartening to see as well. But all in all, I think an absolutely rock-solid start from CSK and RCB on the other end of the spectrum, unfortunately. But as an RCB fan, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season which would be the toughest game for you personally, playing an away game against CSK in Chennai would probably be right at the top of the list. So yeah, early days, but a lot of question marks already with the team's performance. But I'm hoping with the next run of 3 games being played at Chinnaswamy, hopefully they can do better. Although traditionally Chinnaswamy hasn't been very favourable to RCB, but one way or the other this time around they will have to make their home games count, and they will have to do very well in those matches. So they will be hoping to make a quick turnaround in their fortunes, because this format, especially now since the last couple of years with 10 teams competing for those 4 playoff spots, things are very, very competitive. So you cannot afford to get off to a rocky start with 2 or 3 consecutive losses. So I think RCB will want to make amends, and they're more than capable of doing it. So I think as fans, we'll all be hoping that RCB can turn up and put on a show against Punjab Kings, who they're playing next on Monday. So we'll look forward to that encounter. But on the other side, fairy tale start for Ruturaj Gaikwad as the CSK captain. So that was excellent to watch. Good for him. You could still see Dhoni kind of pulling the reins quite a bit in terms of field arrangements and things like that. And he was very active, by the way, in the field, and he did pretty well as a keeper too. So it looks like he's back to his full fitness, and that's a dangerous sign for most of the teams at this point. But Ruturaj, I think, did pretty much what was expected of him, and I think it's great to see him get off to a good start for his own sake and for Chennai Super Kings' sake as well. Right, so that was the key talking points from the first game. Biggest surprise, obviously, was Mustafizur Rahman creating such a big impact in the very first game. Obviously, with the likes of Pathirana not available due to injury yet, it makes sense to bring in someone like a Fizz into the attack, especially on wickets like at Chepauk. And again, CSK just has this knack of kind of pulling rabbits out of the hat with people who've kind of been around the IPL for a while but haven't really lived up to their potential, and then just getting the best out of them. And Fizz joins the list of those, the long list of players like that have kind of found a revamped second wind in their sails at CSK. Right, so those are the key things from the first game. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we had some box office games, and those evening games definitely lived up to their billing. Let me quickly touch upon KKR versus SRH. I thought that was an absolutely fantastic game, kind of went down like an instant classic, to be honest, going right down to the wire. KKR, after a fairly shaky start, I think Phil Salt gave them the required solidity at the top, and I think he'll be a great addition to this team. I think they got very lucky with Jason Roy's injury, which allowed them to bring in someone like a Phil Salt, because I was very surprised when he went unsold at the auction to begin with. But someone like a Salt gives them that wicket-keeping option as well, so now they're no longer forced to play someone like a Rahmanullah Gurbaz, who's been on and off through the last couple of seasons. So I think Salt slots in brilliantly at the top of the order with that wicket-keeping option too, and he provided that foundation. And KKR seemed to be kind of meandering along until Dre Russ decided to show up to the party, and he just went to town doing maniacal things that only Dre Russ is capable of. Absolutely fantastic hitting from him. Ably supported by Rinku to some extent, but it was pretty much the Andre Russell show, pushing the total past 200, which was crazy when you think about it. I think the number of runs that they put on in the last 5 overs was just incredible. So it was a great effort from Russell to take them past 200. In response, SRH were kind of off to a very slow start, periodically losing wickets and not keeping up with the required run rate either. So it was kind of looking like a fairly tame ending to the game until Heinrich Klaasen decided to put his hand up and say, nope, I'm going to try and take this down to the wire, and he did. I think they were looking at around 60 runs of the last 3 overs or something close to that. He just played a fantastic innings. I think with respect to form and rhythm, I think he's definitely one of the best T20 batsmen going around right now over the last couple of years. And he really showed his worth and really stepped it up. And alongside him, the most unlikely partner in the form of Shahbaz Ahmed, kind of doing some last-minute damage too. But unfortunately, all of that wasn't enough to take them over the line. As Harshit Rana keeps his cool with a series of off-pace deliveries to end that innings and end that game. I think it was 13 needed of the last over when he bowls a quick, short pitch delivery, and Klaasen just hit it out of the park. And with 7 needed of 5 balls with Klaasen on strike, I think SRH would have fancied their chances most days. And I think they kind of missed a trick when, off the second ball of the over, Heinrich Klaasen decided to take a single instead of maybe just, holding on to the strike and then just finishing the game off. Yes, Shahbaz Ahmed had scored handy runs before that. I think he was at 16 runs of 4 balls or something like that. But I think one of those was a loose delivery, a full toss on his pads. Another one was like a bouncer, which he just managed to kind of, get to the boundary. He wasn't really in control of that shot. And, nothing against Shahbaz Ahmed. I think he's a great all-round utility player. But in those kinds of crunch situations, especially with a batsman as set as Heinrich Klaasen, I personally, if I was Klaasen, I would have just said, nope, I'm going to take the entire over and I'm just going to see this chase through. But, unfortunately, he decided to take that single. And then what followed after was just a series of slower deliveries. Shahbaz Ahmed got out, and then in comes Marco Jansen, who's well and more than capable of hitting the shots as well. But he takes a single, and then Klaasen gets out, and then 4 needed of the last ball. Cummins comes in and completely misses the slower one too. So that was kind of a anticlimactic end for SRH, doing so well to make that late surge try and get those 2 points, but then falling just short at the end. But kudos to Harshit Rana. When he got the last over, I was kind of questioning the decision, especially with someone like an Andre Russell who still had a couple of overs left, just based on his experience, and given that he's bowled under such circumstances previously as well, I would have probably fancied giving the ball to Andre Russell. But credit to Shreyas Iyer, went with the young lad. He's clearly seen something in him to be able to close out matches, and worked out well for him. So well done. But I think the most exciting part as a neutral spectator was obviously the interesting send-offs that he gave. Harshit Rana gave to Mayank Agarwal at the top of the innings, and then to Heinrich Klaasen as well. Now, as a neutral spectator, I think it's always fun to see some heated exchanges in the middle. Kind of makes it a little bit juicier for us as viewers. But just a word of advice to the young man. Probably that you're doing great. Life comes full circle. What goes around comes around. Probably just focus more on your cricketing than your antics after you dismiss a batsman. So maybe just focus on that. But hey, the guy's got personality, and he did put in the performance to win the game for his team. So credit to him. Credit where credit is due. So well done to KKR. They get their first points on board, winning at home. Another talking point of the game, Mitchell Starc, the most expensive player in IPL, going for 53 runs in his 4 overs without a wicket. Look, whenever you've been purchased at such a high price, you are going to be under the scrutiny, under the scanners a lot more. Bowlers are bound to have off days, but it's kind of unfortunate that he started off on this note for KKR. But, being a champion bowler that he is, I'm sure he'll bounce back. But again, when it comes to headlines, that definitely is a pretty big talking point that your most expensive signing ever in IPL history has gone for 53 runs in his first game. But champion bowler, so I'm sure he will make a comeback in the subsequent games. Right, on to the other big game of this weekend, Gujarat Titans versus Mumbai Indians. Another exciting game going down to the wire, and somehow Mumbai Indians have managed to lose this game from a very comfortable and an easily winnable situation. So Gujarat Titans obviously not putting up a very high score. I would call it a below par score. Sai Sudarshan was the only guy who kind of scored a decent amount of runs for them, and he looked in pretty good touch, so that was nice. But when MI came out to bat, I think they were doing fairly well. Rohit Sharma, great to see him batting freely. Got a good amount of runs today as well. That was one key thing, I guess. But then Naman Dheer, the latest find from the MI scouting camp, just this completely new player that MI seems to throw up every year, right? I mean, last year it was someone like a Nehal Vadhera, the year before that Tilak Varma, Pandya brothers several years ago. So it's amazing how well Mumbai Indians do with respect to scouting and uncovering great talent. And Naman Dheer looks to be the next player to kind of make his way through the ranks, and looks fairly promising. Had a good outing at number 3. Despite all of that and being in a very comfortable position, at a point I think they needed like 43 runs of the last 5 overs with 7 wickets in hand. With the likes of Tilak Varma and Tim David batting and guys like Hardik Pandya to follow, Mumbai Indians just found a way to lose it from there. And I definitely noticed a couple of odd decisions from the Mumbai Indians camp. Firstly, the fact that Hardik Pandya decided to come lower down the order, sending the likes of Tim David ahead of him. I think that was a tactical blunder. We've seen Hardik Pandya batting further up the order at Gujarat Titans. He's used to batting at number 4. And in this MI lineup, I can understand if he doesn't want to be batting at number 4. But coming in at, I think it was like 6 down or whatever, after the likes of Tim David just did not make sense to me. I think he's a much better equipped batter to be able to handle some of the different kinds of challenges that the Gujarat Titans bowlers were posing to the likes of Tim David. So I felt like as a captain, he should have taken up more responsibility and batted further up. Especially in a game like this where the team did not have someone like Surya Kumar Yadav. I think it would have been a great opportunity for Hardik Pandya to step up and play a little higher up the order. So it was very, very surprising. What made that decision even more surprising was this phase in between. I think they were like the 17th over or whatever that Rashid Khan was bowling, and Tilak Varma just decides to not take a single and refuses to give strike to Tim David against Rashid Khan, which kind of was very weird. As a spectator, I'm watching it, right? They're in a comfortable enough position. Tim David is not a tail ender, right? Nor is it like the last over and Tilak Varma is set and he wants to kind of take on finishing the chase for the team. It was none of those scenarios. Tilak Verma had an easy single that he could take, hitting the ball to long on, but he refused. And he was very hesitant, even on the second last ball of the over. He was very hesitant to give Tim David the strike. I don't know what that was all about, but looks like clearly Verma didn't have enough confidence in Tim David to be able to navigate Rashid Khan. And it wasn't like Tim David had to go for a boundary either at that point of time. All he needed to do was just maybe take a single or a double and it would have been okay. So it just felt like Tilak Verma had like literally no confidence in Tim David to, tackle that over from Rashid Khan. So that was very, very surprising to me. And Hardik Pandya was actually even asked about it after the game. Look, as a people leader, I think he said the right thing, that he backs Tilak Verma's decision. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion behind the scenes as to what prompted Tilak Verma to, not give the strike or not rotate the strike at that point of time. A couple of very weird things with respect to Mumbai's decision making. So, especially now that they've lost this game, there'll be a lot more focus on those decisions. And look, I think just because of all the sensationalism around Hardik Pandya's move from Gujarat Titans to Mumbai Indians, I think Hardik is going to be under the scanner all through the season. So even the tiniest slip up from his side, I think will be, dissected in great detail by everyone watching. Unfortunate for Mumbai Indians, not a fairy tale return for Hardik Pandya back to Ahmedabad. But hey, fairy tale start for another new captain this time around, Shubman Gill. I think the Gujarat Titans bowling was spot on again. Mohit Sharma just continuing from where he left off last season. Absolutely brilliant with his slower ball mix-ups, slower bouncers, slower good length deliveries. It was brilliant to watch him bowl. But then I felt like, towards the end, the last 2 overs, I think Gujarat were going to be short of bowling options just because Mohit Sharma had bowled through his overs. Rashid Khan was done. Gill showed faith in Spencer Johnson, and despite that first 6, Spencer came back brilliantly and took Tilak Verma's wicket, which was great. And then the last over, it went down to Umesh Yadav. And I'm sitting watching the game thinking to myself that, Mumbai pretty much have this in the bag. Even though there were like 13 runs needed, I felt like Mumbai could have easily done it, especially after the first couple of balls. I think Hardik Pandya getting a 6 and a 4. Not 13, I think there were a few more runs needed at that point. But Hardik Pandya basically just getting a 6 and a 4. You thought the game is, pretty much covered. Pandya was looking good. Umesh finds a way and gets the big wicket. And what followed again was a collapse in the last few balls of the game. And Gujarat Titans, they do this time and again. They just seem to find a way to win, even from the most improbable or unlikeliest of situations. And looks like that trend continues for Gujarat Titans. So kudos to them. Let's see. In other news, PBKS, Punjab Kings start well against Delhi Capitals. Highlight of that game, obviously, for me personally, was just watching Rishabh Pant back in action. The guy's back, batting at number 4 and keeping as well. He did a good job behind the stumps. Those couple of boundaries that he hit was great to watch as well. Obviously still not back at his fluent best, but the fact that he was out there playing for the team and contributing both with the bat and behind the stumps, absolutely great sight to see. But it is Punjab Kings who walk away with the 2 points. Sam Curran, absolutely brilliant performance with the bat and ably supported by Liam Livingston as well. And they're off to a winning start at their new home ground. So it's I think the PBKS camp will be very happy with that start. And they will look to continue that momentum into those next set of games as well. DC unfortunately ended up losing Ishant Sharma during the innings with an ankle injury. Hopefully it's not anything serious and hopefully he can come back in the future games because I think in terms of domestic Indian bowling talent, they're already a little light. So I'm sure they will not want to lose out on someone like an Ishant Sharma. And I think his absence and him not being able to bowl his remaining 2 overs, I think that was a big factor in today's result as well, in yesterday's result rather. Great start for Punjab Kings and they'll be wanting to continue that momentum. Right, in the other game of this weekend, Rajasthan Royals asserting their dominance over Lucknow Super Giants. When I look at both those teams, I look at both as potential top half of the table teams. In my season previews, you can go and watch those videos that I've done for each team. Shameless plug in there. But I have slotted both of them as potential top four teams, and it was nice to kind of watch that game as well. But Rajasthan Royals coming away with the victory, ably led by Sanju Samson, and I think that will be the biggest positive factor for Rajasthan Royals is that their captain is starting the season with a bang. He's someone who can come in and change the pace of the game in those middle overs, and he batted right through the innings. So that was really great to see, and he, put in an absolutely fantastic performance to take the team to an above par score. And then with the ball, two overseas pacers used by Rajasthan Royals this time. Trent Bolt and Nandre Berger doing the damage right at the top, getting the top order batsmen out early. Pooran and KL Rahul kind of fought back very well, scoring 50s respectively, but unfortunate not to be able to take the team over the line. Again, another series of questionable decisions when it comes to the batting order from Lucknow Super Giants. Guys like Ayush Badoni, Deepak Hooda batting higher up than the likes of Nicholas Pooran and Marcus Stoinis. Again, I just do not get the logic or the reasoning behind that. I understand that guys like Pooran and Stoinis are probably better equipped to handle more pressure lower down the order, but on the flip side, you need to think about it in a different way. You probably need to look at it that if I have guys like Pooran and Stoinis batting further up, there is probably going to be higher chances of them scoring runs and less pressure on the lower order anyway. Exactly what we saw today. Guys like Devdutt Padikkal, I think he's a good fit at number 3, but not really firing today. Ayush Badoni getting out cheaply as well, so that really put the team in a spot of bother. And although Deepak Hooda did try to swing things Lucknow's way, I think his stay was kind of short-lived, and then I think it was just too much for the likes of Pooran and Rahul to do in the tail end of that innings, and Stoin is also kind of succumbing to the pressure eventually. A lot of questions with respect to their preferred batting order. Personally, just given the form that Pooran has been in over the last year and a half, I would definitely bat him at number 4. But, that's the approach that LSG are taking. I think they want to save their bigger hitters for later in the innings. But unfortunately backfired for them today, and Rajasthan Royals are off to a pretty big start. Cool. So those were the recap of all the games that happened this weekend. But wanted to at least touch upon a couple of other key talking points from this season, or like from this weekend, opening weekend, right? So firstly, the new rule of allowing 2 bounces per over seems like a lot of teams have been employing it very regularly. And I think this is going to be a great asset for fast bowlers in this season. And you'll see a lot more of that in the days to come as well, especially now in the early part of the season when the pitches are a little bit fresh and offer a little bit of extra bounce. I think you can definitely catch a few batsmen off guard with those additional bouncers in the over. Even in the first game, you saw someone like Shivam Dube being peppered with a bunch of short deliveries from the likes of Alzari Joseph, Cameron Green, etc. Dube kind of managed to navigate it, but I think it's definitely a tactic that people will be using against specific batsmen. Even in the game today between GT and MI, you could see guys like Tim David and Hardik Pandya both succumbing to the short pitch delivery. And that, I think, is going to be a trend, at least for the first half of the season, with some of the bouncier wickets. And I think it's a great opportunity for bowlers to kind of come back into this game again, because over the last several years we've seen IPL just being a batsman's game, and cricket in general is a batsman's game. And I think this kind of helps the pacers a little bit more to have a little bit more variety and options, and keep the batsmen thinking, and kind of keep them on their toes a little bit. So I think that's definitely an interesting aspect that I'm very excited to see throughout this season as well. Hopefully the bowlers can utilize it well, but it'll definitely force the batsmen to make a little bit of adjustment in their approach to how they go about facing a pace bowler through the duration of the over, especially even after they've bowled the first bouncer. You can still be in two minds and keep expecting that second bouncer to come at any point as well. So I think it's a great added weapon in the arsenal of a lot of the quick bowlers, and I'm sure they'll use it very regularly in the weeks to come. All right. In the other key announcement, the groups for this season's format have been announced. So basically, ever since we've moved to this 10-team format, IPL does this format with two groups with 5 teams each, and basically, as a team, you play once against the other 4 player teams in your group, and then you play twice against the 5 other teams in the other group. So this time around, Group A, we have Mumbai Indians, Kolkata Knight Riders, Rajasthan Royals, Delhi Capitals, and Lucknow Super Giants. And in Group B, we have Chennai Super Kings, Sunrisers Hyderabad, Royal Challengers Bengaluru, Punjab Kings, and Gujarat Titans. So those are the 2 groups, which means that all the teams in Group A will play against each other just once. And similarly for Group B, and Group A teams will play against Group B teams twice through the season. So that way, every team gets to play their full quota of 14 games. So some of the exciting double headers, obviously, Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings are in opposite groups, which means they will be going head to head twice this year. Definitely always a blockbuster encounter watching these two teams play, so that will be exciting. KKR versus Royal Challengers Bengaluru happening twice as well. So RCB visiting Eden Gardens and KKR visiting Chinnaswamy. So that's going to be a fun couple of games to watch as well. So yeah, a lot of fun, exciting games. KKR will go up against Sunrisers Hyderabad again. So if I'm Mayank Agarwal or Heinrich Klaasen, I'll be waiting, waiting to see if Harshit Rana comes back again and if they can give him a proper reply this time around. And if I'm Harshit Rana, I'll be kind of hoping to do the double over them. And Gujarat Titans and Mumbai Indians in opposing groups as well, which means Shubman Gill will bring his Gujarat boys to Wankhede, and we'll see how that game goes as well. So yeah, a lot of exciting games happening. The prospects are looking very good. And in terms of the next few games, upcoming games, Monday, Royal Challengers Bangalore will be hosting. I need to get used to saying Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Royal Challengers Bengaluru will be hosting Punjab Kings at Chinnaswamy, so that will likely be a very high-scoring encounter, followed by Chennai Super Kings hosting Gujarat Titans. So it's the 2 greenhorn captains going head-to-head at Chidambaram, so that will be an interesting game as well. Followed by Sunrisers Hyderabad hosting Mumbai Indians. So the 2 teams who've started with a loss, they'll want to make amends right away, and that will be an exciting game as well, I'm sure. Right, so that was my quick recap of this weekend and some of the talking points from the games that we've had so far. 1 round of games done. Some of the teams will be very happy with the results, other teams not so much, and they'll be looking to make some amends very quickly. So the next few set of games coming up this week will definitely be very exciting. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Willow and Leather again. I'm Shravan. Throughout the course of this IPL, I'll be making tons of videos covering some of the action and all the highlights and the key talking points and all the controversial points as well. So please keep the love and support coming. Like this video, share it with your friends and family, subscribe to this channel, and turn the notifications on so that you don't miss any future videos or YouTube shorts that I do as well every once in a while. Thank you again for all your support, and I'll catch you in the next